We were coming down. I wasn't even accepted to Keuka yet. We were coming down for an open house just to see the campus. And my mom drove me down, and we're going down Assembly Drive, that main road there. And it's all covered with trees, and then all of a sudden the trees just open up, and there stands this just so majestic building, this huge old building. And I got the same feeling I got today coming back like 6 years later and going, just got butterflies in my stomach and going, oh my God. I want to go here, Mom. This is where I want to go. I want to go here.
It's a landmark. You know, it just gives the character to the college.
It was in February of 1962, and my parents had brought me up for my college interview. And we pulled into the parking lot, and the first person to greet us was Dr. Litterick, who was president. And I remember being so impressed that the first person we met was the president. It was just great. Good interview, and I loved everything about it as soon as I saw it.
It's majestic. Just looking at the brickwork and the way it's laid out with the windows, it's very majestic looking. Even when you turn your car to pull in, you just kind of see it there.
We had a lakeside room on the center of the building, which was quite sizable compared to how dorm rooms are now. And I just fell in love with the place.
When you came through the front of Ball Hall, there it was. There was the entire layout, almost palatial, you know. So Ball, and I really don't know how old Ball is, but it certainly has withstood the test of time.
What I remember really, really clearly is standing on that old porch, waving goodbye to my parents the day they left me here, and feeling immediately at home.
Oh, it was a place that I came to live in, to develop new relationships. There was an incredible camaraderie between all of us.
Myself and Mark Halleck, a 94 alum of Keuka, came to visit, and the reception that we received was incredible. We were actually allowed to stay in Ball Hall in a room that was vacant at the time, and everywhere we went, the current Keuka students knew our first names. It said, oh, you know, you're Mark and Hans, and we understand, you know, you're here for a lacrosse visit, recruiting visit, and it was such a warm reception that it was highly unusual and very atypical, I think, for high school students to receive that warm of a reception.
The very first time I saw Ball Hall, I was visiting, it was probably in '98, and the tour guide took us up and said, you know, this is Ball Hall, and when you're an upperclassman, you can have the chance to live here. And I was just amazed at all of the artwork in the hallways, because outside of everyone's doors, there's paintings. There was the Grateful Dead bears, and I think someone had like some kind of like precious moments painting, but each room kind of had a painting outside their door that reflected them on the walls.
Encouraged not to use the elevator because 4 flights of steps were healthy and would keep us in good shape.
And one thing they told us is never use the elevator in Ball Hall.
I did not see George Ball, although I think I heard his footsteps.
Didn't matter where I was going, I always used the stairs, never used the elevator because the elevator's haunted.
You came up the steps into the main floor, and there was this incredibly wide central staircase. And on Wednesday nights, the students would have a step sing, because Wednesday nights were dress nights. We'd come up from the dining room, couldn't get in the dining room without a skirt on, but we'd come up from the dining room and people would gather on these wide steps that went all the way up to the 4th floor and have a step sing.
Being the only male in school, it was kind of a unique experience.
My happiest memories have to do with the relationships that I fostered in Ball Hall with my roommates and friends, fellow lacrosse players.
We used to have great field hockey games on the front campus where Leitner Library is now, because we didn't have any other playing fields, so we used these front lawns for softball and for field hockey. It was always great to get out there and get running. So I had a lot of fun times.
I learned to be the last one out of the class. Otherwise, I'd stand and hold the door for 150 women.
One time I think we had a lot of fun was when the students who were living there through a haunted mansion, Haunted Ball Hall, I think is what they called it, for Halloween. So we all got dressed up in our Halloween costumes and got to go through the spooky house.
God forbid somebody left the rope for the bell tower, which was on the second floor. There was a box, and every once in a while that would get, somehow it would get opened up, and then we could really ring that bell. We officially would ring it on commencement and on May Day. So May Days were fun.
You get to hear the bell once in a while. The one that I used to ring when commencement was over. Go up to the third floor where that cabinet, that famous cabinet was, open it up with a key and start pulling. And pull until I couldn't even get a breath anymore.
My dad went to Keuka Institute. I graduated from Keuka as the first male student graduate in many, many years. And my son-in-law this last year received his master's from Keuka College.
It was nice that the first floor was very personnel, employee oriented, and the top floors were residential. It kind of made it feel like the student body was integrated with faculty and staff.
We all really knew one another and cared for one another, and if somebody was having a bad day, it didn't last long because we really cared.
Several years ago, there were rumors that the building may have to be demolished, and a lot of alumni that I talked to were concerned about that and felt like it would be a huge loss for the campus.
It's the bell tower. It's got to be the bell tower. It's the tallest part of any building around, and you notice it right away.
It's the centerpiece of Keuka College. You can see it here, you can see it en route, and you can see it across the lake. And I'm a flight instructor in the area, so it's kind of a pivot point for me to fly over to go to the airport.
It means everything to anybody who's ever been here. They may have lived in Strong Hall, they may have lived anywhere else on campus, but Ball Hall is still the center of Keuka.
I'm so excited when I came down here today. I mean, I looked at it, and first I'm going, that's not Ball Hall, and I'm like, oh my God, they're fixing it. Because when I last left, they were still talking about tearing it down. And they were gonna, they were gonna build behind it, which, destroy Ball Hall pit and all of that. And I was so upset. But when I came in today, I was like, I'm so excited. I'm so glad that they decided to keep it, because it is such a symbol for everyone who came here. I mean, I just graduated in 2002, which is not a long time ago, but I know other alumni. I mean, that was the first building that was here, so a lot of, especially the older alumni, that was the only building they knew. They didn't know, the other buildings that I used. So it's got so much history behind it, and I thought it was just a shame to tear it down. So I'm just so thrilled and so excited that they just decided to keep it.